First, it was Governor Rick Scott ordering state employees not to use the term climate change while conducting state business. Now, President Trump's EPA is taking down its climate change webpage. They say there's no scientific consensus. Really? It just so happens Sarasota this week is the scene of a conference on climate change, and Jess Dowdrick was there. Jess.
Yeah, Alan, scientists call it global warming, and the effects can be seen right here on the Suncoast. Tonight, local experts are explaining what they call the unfortunate realities that the area is facing.
This is what the Suncoast shoreline looks like now. Here's the best case scenario of what scientists say it'll look like in less than a century. And the worst case, sea levels rise 7 feet, and a majority of the Keys are underwater. Not only the Keys, but Sarasota and Manatee counties lose some of their shorelines.
All that heat that's in the ocean because of global warming, half of it has gone in since 1997. So if you're 20 years old, half the heat of global warming has gone in since 1970. That's because of the population growth and the increasing industrialization. You know, if we'd only listened to people a little bit earlier, it would have been a small problem. We're making it a bigger and bigger problem.
The effects of climate change on the Suncoast don't stop there. Researchers say our area is roughly 2 degrees hotter now than it was 50 years ago, and that extreme rain events are happening more frequently, which causes flooding. And every time we burn fossil fuels, scientists say we make it worse.
That'll be in the atmosphere for 4,000 years. When you think of it that way, it's like, God, what are we doing? You know, we treat it like it's just a minor thing.
Scientists say the community needs to be aware of the risks that come with climate change on the Suncoast because it could affect your roads, ports, and water supplies in the not-so-distant future.
It's become way too politicized to the point, I think, under our current state leadership where they don't even like using the term climate change. I have a very, visceral negative reaction to that. There's not mandating anything in particular, but I do think you can't ignore the risks.
Moving forward, scientists say we can't undo what's already been done.
We are in for it. How do you cool down a warmed ocean?
But as a community, we can plan for the future.
In terms of land use, what we build and where we build it, we should be thinking about climate change and factoring those risks into the decisions that we make, especially the public decisions.
Dr. Harold Wanless says every government should be making a plan. Locally, our city and county governments are doing just that.
We're just trying to come to grips with what is really happening and to try to minimize it, yet at the same time adapt to what our world will be seeing in the next 5, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, because the community will be here.
In the city of Sarasota, officials have created a climate change adaptation plan because they too have noticed the changes.
Every time we see a king tide or a high tide and we've seen serious beach erosion, we have areas that are vulnerable. In fact, we're working to stabilize the Lido shoreline as we speak, and to a tropical storm, we're vulnerable now.
It started with education and helping people understand climate data and what it means for their lives.
We've done some things already to help us be more resilient. We've built some lift stations higher. We've integrated different stormwater approaches to help us take in more flooding.
But that's just the start. Bigger infrastructure projects will take years.
I think an important thing to talk about is that when you look at a lot of these projections, there's scenarios, and that frustrates people. And a lot of people might say, well, that means the science isn't good enough because there's this ranges. But really, it's not the science so much, it's the range of how us humans are going to impact the future.
The climate change experts we talk to say the science is really not in doubt, and they're urging we get off the fossil fuel bandwagon and elect leaders who will do something. And once they're elected, hold them accountable. As for your property, Dr. Wanless says we are one mortgage cycle away from sea levels rising 2 feet. Prepare for that.
All these people that think they're investing in something for their grandkids, they could be throwing money in the ocean. That's the real problem.
And whether you believe in climate change or not,
Insurance companies are pretty good about managing risks, and as it becomes more clear, insurance policies and premiums are going to go up.
The maps show by year 2100, 1 in 8 Florida homes will be underwater. A $413 billion housing value also underwater.
And the risks don't stop at rising sea levels and temperatures. Scientists say that climate change goes as far as damaging people's health, increasing communities' needs for water, and even damaging coral and marine species. And again, scientists say these aren't risks we will see in centuries from now. They're already happening right now.
Jess, thank you.